experiments.
Tom King.
The cookie told me so.
Desserts aren't always right.
But they're so sweet.
Christian Arcand.
What makes you the authority, brah?
Christian and King.
I know what the good is. Welcome to the goodie room.
Weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN New Hampshire Radio. Streaming live on ESPNNewHampshireRadio.com.
So what? So what? So let's dance.
Now, here's Christian Arcand and Tom King.
Hour number 2, Christian and King, ESPN New Hampshire, streaming live on the ESPN Radio app and on ESPNNHradio.com. Check out our new website. It's snazzy, if nothing else. And you can check our archived audio there as well. Jim Sensabella Show, Christian and King. Interviews we've done, entire shows, entire hours. Our blogs are going to be up and running soon. Website's really looking great and taking some great shape. So go check it out. Also, we're on the ESPN Radio app. That's the real ESPN Radio app, not like a special ESPN New Hampshire Radio app. The big ESPN Radio app. Download that for your smartphone or your tablet. Tap on, once you have it installed and everything, open it up, tap on Live Radio, and it'll give you a list of all the affiliates in Columbus and Minnesota and Dallas and everywhere else. You scroll past all those lousy places, go right to ESPN New Hampshire. You got Christian and King from noon to 3, Jim Sensabella Show from 3 till 6, although not today. And also we have the High School Insiders, all of our tremendous weekend programming as well. I was listening a little bit this weekend. We got some good weekend shows here now. The Sports Blast, I like that show. It's a good show. I didn't hear him this weekend. I heard him the weekend before. It's a good show. And, we've completely redone all of that. There's a new NASCAR show now, which is very, very timely with Loudon coming up right around the corner. We're going to be giving away passes to Loudon all week long, and I mean all week long. I'm not sure if I have any for you today, so maybe I shouldn't say all week long, but after today, pretty much every single day, there will be passes flying out of here for you to go and check out the races. So that's always a cool thing, too. All right, let's take a break from the Red Sox right now as we await Mike Loico, who will jump on with us here in about 30 minutes to talk some football. There is a couple of, and this is always when it happens. Tom King has made this point many, many times, and it's one of the most salient points he's ever made. And that is this. The 2 weeks in between the end of the workouts and going into OTAs, that's when everybody gets in trouble. That's when NFL players tend to get in trouble the most. It's been relatively quiet this time around. There's been a couple of guys who have gotten nabbed. There's a lot of stuff coming out about Josh Gordon, the Cleveland Browns wideout, who is trying to appeal his season-long ban for marijuana. And we're finding out some pretty tough things there. And that's not even the worst thing that happened to a Cleveland Brown over the weekend. Worst thing that happened to a Cleveland Brown over the weekend, and maybe to the city of Cleveland in general, is this. Johnny Manziel in Vegas. Surprise, for the 4th of July. Not really surprised there. He's hanging out with Playboy bunnies. No big surprise there either. And then there's this. According to, and I believe the picture was sent to a website called Busted Coverage, which is a pretty good football sort of rumor blog. A picture of Johnny Manziel inside a bathroom in Las Vegas somewhere with a rolled-up $20 bill in his hand that he was rolling up, presumably about to blast some cocaine with it. Presumably. It may not have been cocaine, might have been Adderall, might have been any other number of things that you can crush up and then blow up your nose with a rolled-up piece of money. Whatever it was. I have no idea. I'm assuming, since it was Las Vegas and since he's Johnny Football, that he was about ready to go, blast off on some booger sugar. That's what people do in Vegas. I've been told. So I've been told. Now, what does this mean? Is there any actual drugs in the picture with him? No, of course not. If there was, this would be a much bigger story. All there is a picture of him with a $20 bill in his hand, half rolled up as he's in the process of rolling it into a little, thing, into a little straw. Presumably to use it. Now, do I think Johnny Manziel is the first NFL player to ever use cocaine in a nightclub in Las Vegas? No, I don't. Do I think Johnny Manziel is way too high profile right now to be getting away with stuff like that? Absolutely. And I would assume, I would think that he would know that too. It's one thing to show yourself partying, with a bottle or something at a nightclub. That's one thing. But when you start bringing in like heavy, hard drugs, when it shows you in the picture and you're rolling up 20s to put something up your nose, That's a whole nother territory here. And it's not just me saying this. I mean, that's how the laws are now. I mean, and it should be like that. Something like that is pretty tough. And Johnny Manziel should, I hate to say he should know better, because we should all, that's a silly thing to say about a guy like him. Yeah, of course he should know better. He should know better than to get blackout drunk on a inflatable penguin or whatever that thing was that showed him out there when he was in the middle of some kiddie pool with like a handle of Captain Morgan in one hand, asleep on some inflatable pool toy. You should know better than to do that. But really, that's not illegal. It's not illegal to get drunk and act like a doofus, unless you get way too drunk and act like way too much of a doofus. But so far, Johnny Manziel has not broken any laws that I know of by doing these things. But when you start talking about, rolled up money and, hanging out in the bathroom and that sort of thing, I mean, it's just stupid, I mean, that's not smart. It's not smart to do those drugs in the first place. But I mean, listen, that's a whole nother discussion. You're in Vegas. Everybody in Vegas is hoping to run into Johnny Football. It's like, that's all people do. They go to Vegas for a holiday weekend. They're hoping they bump into someone famous. And if they do, they're whipping out their camera and they're taking a picture of them. They'll probably ask for a picture. If the guy says no, and they'll follow him around, follow him into the bathroom, see him rolling up some money, and they'll take the picture in there. I don't blame Johnny Manziel for going to Vegas. I'm sure a lot of guys went to Vegas. I do blame him, though, if you're staying in Vegas and you absolutely got to do drugs, isn't there a hotel room nearby where you could go? I mean, like, a place where someone can't follow you in with a camera and shoot a picture of you about to blast a rail over the sink? I mean, come on, man. This is kid stuff. If you're going to do something like that, at least do it behind a closed door that you can lock. Dummy. Anyway, that's what's going on with Johnny Manziel. The picture is up on Busted Coverage. It's not much to it. It's just him standing there with a rolled up 20 in his hand. So, you can judge that as you will, but I think that's pretty amateurish. I mean, come on, Johnny. You got to be better than that, buddy. You got a whole city dependent on you, And how about this city, by the way? The city of Cleveland, right now in the epicenter, the eye of the sports tornado right now, as LeBron James, according to several different sources, including Chris Broussard and including Brian Windhorst, who is basically like the LeBron James whisperer of all media, saying that Cleveland now emerging as the frontrunners to land LeBron James, which makes me wonder, what did they have a meeting about? What was the LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade lunch about? What did they discuss? What was said? What promises were made? Did they all just sort of sit down and say, yeah, let's all just do whatever and maybe we'll end up together? I mean, I could actually sort of see that happening. I could sort of see them all just sitting there saying, yeah, fine, whatever. Maybe we'll come back. Maybe we won't. This steak sandwich is delicious. I mean, like, what were they discussing there? If what they were discussing was how they're all going to come back and play in Miami, it's not really coming out that way. Chris Bosh now leaning towards going to Houston. And LeBron James, despite saying that he wants a max contract, and despite supposedly telling Bosh and Wade that he wants them all to come back for another run in Miami, now seems to be out the door. Or at least checking out the door. He's sticking his head out the door. He's looking out there, seeing what else is around. And I got news for you. In Cleveland, they got something there. They got something going on there. Watching a team with Kyrie Irving, Andrew Wiggins, and LeBron James, whoa. That's pretty awesome. Not gonna lie. I mean, I'll be checking out the Cavs next year. And obviously, any team LeBron goes to, automatically it makes that team a little bit better. But that's exciting. I mean, you got Kyrie Irving, who is a high-volume scorer, but also a great distributor. You have Andrew Wiggins, who I think could end up being all-star caliber player. And he's just getting started. And learning under LeBron James, I mean, that's, a lot gets made out of that sort of thing. Well, you bring in any Tim Tebow, he'll learn under Tom Brady, and all of a sudden he'll be good. Now, it doesn't always work like that. But Andrew Wiggins, a number one pick, coming to learn under LeBron James, another number one pick, both guys who were very, very much hyped coming out of high school. And Wiggins, who would have come out of high school if it wasn't mandatory for him to play freshman year in college. Yeah, I think that's got all the markings of a pretty excellent situation for LeBron right there, and for Cleveland in general. And it's so serious, in fact, that Gilbert actually pulled down that ridiculous letter that he wrote to LeBron James, which I didn't even realize this, had been up on the Cleveland Cavaliers website since the decision. All those years ago. That freaking letter that he wrote in the Comic Sans font was up on the website that whole time. Did anyone else know that? They just took it down today. Like, really, Gilbert? It was one thing that he wrote it in the first place. Because, I mean, that was like the whiniest, bitchiest thing I've ever seen. You know, I mean, talk about just an absolute crybaby right there when LeBron left Cleveland in the first place. But then to leave it up for 4 years, like, what are you doing? Why would you leave that there? Why would you want everybody to constantly be reminded about, A, the fact that LeBron booked out of your city, the city he grew up in, because you didn't put a good enough team around him, and 2, why would you want to look like such a petty, whiny baby in the first place for all those years with that thing up there? Did you think people are going to read that and be like, yeah, Gilbert, you're right. You know, I take your side over LeBron James's here. Nobody thought that, not even in Cleveland. And they hate LeBron James in Cleveland. They'll love him when he comes back. But oh my God, it was bad. They were burning his jerseys. I mean, it was rough there. And that's what'll happen when a guy turns his back on his hometown like that to go to Miami and, you know, live it up on South Beach with his friends. But now here's another thing. If LeBron does leave Miami and does go back to Cleveland, boy, did he stick it to Dwayne Wade. Holy mackerel. Dwayne Wade, who could have not opted out. Wade could have stayed and gotten paid whatever the money he was getting paid, which is more than LeBron, if he stayed in Miami and didn't opt out of his contract. He would have gotten a bigger payday, a lot bigger. Instead, now that he's opted out and is just a regular old free agent with everybody else, who the hell is going to sign Dwayne Wade? The best Dwayne Wade can hope for right now is that Bosh goes to Houston, LeBron goes to Cleveland, and that Miami overpays to re-sign Dwayne Wade just to save some face. And if that happens, oh my God. You thought Heat fans were fair-weathered while they were winning? Wait until it's just Dwayne Wade and nobody else. Dwayne Wade, Udonis Haslem, and Shabazz Napier. Yeah, that'll be fun. That'll be an exciting team to watch. You're going to pack Southwest Airlines Arena watching those guys. Dwayne Wade, oh man, in the finals, Dwayne Wade was a joke. Dwayne Wade looked like, do you remember those Pepsi commercials where like Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love dressed up like old men, like elderly men, and then went to the, you know, they went down to the playground and started schooling all these young guys in basketball while dressed up like old guys? Dwayne Wade looked like how those guys should have played. Like, he looked like an old man out there. No defense whatsoever. No lift. And I know the guy's all banged up. Maybe he'll be able to recover from it, but I mean, come on. His only offense with these one-handed runners in the lane that went in maybe a third of the time. And other than that, he couldn't create his own offense at all. He could barely even hold on to the ball. He was getting eaten alive by anybody they put on him. Danny Green, forget it. He could not hang with Danny Green on either side. It was embarrassing watching Dwayne Wade play. And LeBron somehow talks him out of staying. He talks him into opting out of the contract so that they can all come back and maybe even sign another guy to help him out. And now LeBron's going to Cleveland to get a max? Wow. Talk about doing a guy dirty. And you know what? Couldn't be happier. Kudos, LeBron. Not a guy I would rather see get screwed over like this than Dwayne Wade, who I think is one of the dirtiest players in the league and just so out there. I mean, watching Dwayne Wade play and watching him get just absolutely destroyed in the finals was sweet. It was wonderful. Watching that happen to Dwayne Wade, who I think is one of the biggest jerks in the NBA, by far. Just a very, very dirty player. Tries to hurt people. Goes out there and doesn't. It's not in the spirit of competitiveness. He's going out there with targets on guys, on Rondo. You remember when he jump kicked Kevin Garnett and Garnett got the foul? I mean, and that's the other thing about it. When LeBron's over there, Dwayne Wade had carte blanche to do whatever he wanted, because you know LeBron was going to get the calls and his team was going to get the calls. And Wade, who was very obviously declining anyway, just rode that as far as he could. You know, as the sometime sidekick there. And he had a couple of good games in the Indiana series. Not much. In the Brooklyn series, he was okay, too. But by the end of it, I mean, he was just completely broken down, shell of his former self. and just getting absolutely lit on fire by those young guys on the Spurs, which I just couldn't get enough of. I thought that was fantastic. So, what either is going to happen is LeBron is going to go to Cleveland and completely bone Dwayne Wade, who now is going to have to re-sign with Miami, less money, all by himself on a team going nowhere. Because, I mean, let's be honest. No good team, no team with any good future prospects is going to try and open up the wallets for Dwayne Wade. He's either going to have to take a major pay cut to go to a good team, or he's going to get paid a fraction of what he was going to get anyway if he didn't opt out of his contract to go back to Miami. I read somewhere that Pat Riley's, just to completely screw Miami, Pat Riley's going to chase Bosh and LeBron out, sign Dwayne Wade to a 5-year max contract, and then retire. Wouldn't that be funny? If Riley was just like, screw this, I'm out of here. Just like me with the owl puzzle. Just forget about this. No way. I'm done. So either LeBron goes to Cleveland and completely screws over Dwayne Wade, or he goes back to Miami and completely screws over the city of Cleveland again. He's sort of painted himself into this corner right now. And I guess that's sort of the price of being the best player in the league. No matter what you do, someone's going to hate you. But I'm LeBron James. I don't know. I think you've probably gotten all you can out of that Miami trio. Dwayne Wade is not going to get better. Dwayne Wade is pretty much, he's hit his ceiling, and the decline is already, we're already a couple years into it. Cleveland? That's a stock worth buying into. And you're not going to hear those words around Cleveland very often. But seriously, I mean, that team, they can keep Varejao. I know they're trying to get rid of Jarrett Jack and trade him over to Brooklyn for some guy making no money just so they can clear the space to give LeBron the max contract. And if they do that, then they have some flexibility to maybe make a trade, get somebody else in there. Who knows? You know, maybe they package Wiggins and somebody else and trade for Kevin Love. Then all of a sudden you got Irving, Love, and James in Cleveland. And all of a sudden, you're talking about a favorite in the Eastern Conference. Anywhere LeBron goes, you're probably talking about a favorite in the Eastern Conference. But that Cleveland team is very interesting. I mean, there's a lot going on there, and it's certainly something to keep an eye on. We'll certainly let you know if there's any possible way that LeBron James ends up in Cleveland or if he goes back to Miami or any of those things. I'm keeping my eye on Twitter, and I will keep you up to date on that subject best I can. Texter says, any chance we can get those two girls in the studio to chase Christian off the mic? I'll tell you what. If the Katie and Megan show ever hit the ESPN New Hampshire airwaves, it would completely change the whole face of radio. Completely. There is no way. The radio, sports radio, the entire culture of sports talk radio would be turned on its head if you ever gave those two their own show. I would be out of a job. No question about it. I'd be out of a job. Felger and Maz would be out of a job. Toucher and Rich. All of these guys. Dale and Holly. Dennis and Callahan. They would all just get wiped away by the Katie and Megan show. No question. 603-883-9900. Your phone number, 883-9900. You can text in 50352. Text line is up and running. Getting some good texts so far today. And coming up next, we will talk with Mike Loico, who we have not spoken with in quite a while, of AnyPatriotsDraft.com. And we'll talk not just about the Patriots and their draft picks and all the rest of that, but there's a pretty big trial coming up here for this team. And what's that going to mean for the day-to-day preparations as Bill Belichick gets this team ready to take on this 2014-2015 season? Aaron Hernandez saying the Patriots still owe him money. The Patriots saying, no, we don't. Is that going to be something that hangs over this team all season long, this Aaron Hernandez trial? I feel like it kind of is. You know? I feel like it just might. And I say that knowing that, you remember Jared Remy. I thought the Jared Remy trial was going to hang over this Red Sox season, and Nesson specifically, with Jerry doing the games. And as soon as he pled guilty, I haven't felt like that since. I really haven't. I thought that Jerry has been fine. I don't think he's the commentator that he once was. And I still think that he was a major, major factor in Jared Remy's crimes. The fact that Jerry was there, funding all of this. But you know what? Since Jared pled guilty and he's going to jail for the rest of his life, no questions asked. All right, Jerry, you want to do the games? Do the games. There's no more trial to wait for and no more talk about it. It'll eventually just go away. And you know what? Ultimately, I do think Jerry feels pretty bad about all of this. I just don't think he quite gets his role in all of it. And that's another topic for another time. We're talking football right now here as the New England Patriots are going to have to deal with something similar with this Aaron Hernandez trial forthcoming. And how will it affect that team? Will it affect them at all? Generally, you think, no, Bill Belichick's pretty good at this sort of thing. He's good at getting rid of these distractions. He's good at making these issues into non-issues. I agree. I think he will be. But they haven't seen anything like this before. You know? They dealt with it last year when they had to, and I don't think they really handled it all that great. I thought the statements made by Belichick and Brady were okay. Lacking a little bit in terms of overall, I guess, human emotion, but, you know, what are you going to do? It's just tough. It's tough when someone dies, when someone's murdered, and one of your players did it, to go out there and give the standard Patriots speak. You know, you gotta give a little more than that. And we'll see if it comes to this. I mean, people are going to be asking questions. You know, Belichick's going to shut them all down. But hey, if somebody has to make an appearance in court, I'm sorry, you can't just give them the old. You can't just give them the old three. You got to be better in three aspects of the game, and you know it's just not how it works. Okay, courtrooms are a little different from the podium after a win over the Jets in Week 10. 603-883-9900. That's your phone number, 883-9900. Text in 50352. Mike Loiko, Any Patriots Draft, joins us next here, Christian and King.
CSA Graphics offers the best screen printing, embroidery, and promotional items in the area. Everything is done in-house, which allows CSA to make just one or thousands of items. Whether it's t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, or uniforms, CSA will increase your brand awareness and get the word out about your company. CSA Graphics considers customer service their top priority. Gary and his staff work directly with you to create your printed version in the most efficient and affordable manner possible.
Call CSA Graphics at 978-577-6427 or visit CSAGFX.com.
Hey, Lynn, how are you?
Great. It's been a while. You look good.
Thanks. Hey, can you tell? I knocked off a few pounds recently.
Yeah, I mean, you really look good.
Well, I can't take all the credit. I owe it to Dr. Waldman and his cool sculpting.
Who?
Dr. Waldman. He's right on Riverside Street in Nashua. I'm telling you, I never had a hard time with my appearance. I work out, I eat healthy, but I just couldn't get rid of these love handles until I had cool sculpting at Dr. Waldman's.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of Dr. Waldman and the new cool sculpting. The entire staff there's great. They'll sit down with you and consult on exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, they made my cool sculpting experience comfortable and safe. No incisions, no downtime. Plus, I was back at the gym the same night.
And I must say, I like what I see.
Well, then I'll see you for dinner?
Absolutely.
Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology on Riverside Street in Nashua. Make sure to mention this ESPN New Hampshire ad to get a free cool sculpting consultation with Dr. Waldman. Call 603-577-5559 or visit them online at Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology.com. That's Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology.com.
The Nashua S. Loeb School of Communications is offering a series of free workshops on resume writing and job search skills at Nashua Community College. The sessions will be held on Monday, July 21st, July 28th, and August 4th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. in room 150 in NCC's main building. Thanks to a generous grant from the Cogswell Benevolent Trust, the sessions are free, but space is limited, so registration is required. For more information or to register, visit www.lobeschool.org or call 603-627-0005.
Hi, it's Bob from Bob's Discount Furniture. My Chandler power reclining sofa is so comfortable and convenient, you may never want to get up. Bonded leather everywhere you sit with my famous Bobopedic memory foam cushions. 2 push-button power recliners, power headrests, extra storage, pop-up overhead light, a USB port to charge your mobile device, and more. At only $11.99, it's an untouchable value. Buy in-store or online at mybobs.com.
Quiznos Subs in Nashua is now home to the new Southern Barbecue pulled pork subs. Slow-roasted pulled pork, mozzarella and cheddar cheese, pickles, mustard, and Quiznos' signature barbecue sauce served on your choice of artisan breads. Try the spicy pulled pork sub as well. Quiznos will also cater your graduation party or office meeting, or you can head down and park in their own parking lot, which is key at lunchtime.
Quiznos Subs, located at 290 Main Street in Nashua. Quiznos. Toasty.
Wendy's presents Red in The Sing-Along.
Hey, got us some lunch.
I love Wendy's pretzel buns so much. I could sing. I'm the one who wants to be with you.
Me too. Pretzel bun, I know you feel it too.
Hey, ladies. Waited all this time, my hunger grew.
Everybody, just to take a pretzel bun.
Wendy's pretzel bun is back to be with you, paired with tender chicken or hot and juicy beef.
Now that's better.
Available for a limited time.
Hey folks, Tom Rowe here for the good people at Infinity of Nashua. Right now at Infinity of Nashua, they're home to one of the most unique automobiles on the planet. The 2014 Q50 all-wheel drive hybrid gets an astounding 30 miles per gallon with a powerful 360 horsepower engine that gives you the performance you demand from a luxury vehicle. The 2014 Q50 all-wheel drive hybrid is priced, get this, below $50,000. Other comparable luxury vehicles can cost you twice as much. All Infinity vehicles are backed by a 4-year, 60,000-mile warranty and a powertrain warranty for 6 years at 70,000 miles. At Infinity of Nashua, they know your time is valuable, and when it comes time to service your vehicle, Infinity of Nashua has a fleet of loaner cars for you to use, so you're not waiting around for your car to be serviced. And the service department hand washes and vacuums your vehicle after every visit. Infinity of Nashua is located on 105 DW Highway in Nashua and can also be found online at infinityofnashua.com. Once more, Infinity of Nashua is located on 105 DW Highway in Nashua and can also be found online at infinityofnashua.com.
Hey, sweetie, what's going on?
Well, honey, I have some news.
Okay, what?
All that training paid off. I got the job.
Oh, I knew you would get it. So when do you start?
When you donate stuff to Goodwill, you help provide job training for people right here in your community. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You like sports? We've got it all right here on ESPN New Hampshire. Scores, standings, trades, and rumors. This is the ESPN New Hampshire Sports Center.
The Boston Red Sox continue to falter into the summer days as they drop 2 out of 3 to the Baltimore Orioles over the weekend, including a 7-6 defeat in 12 innings last night. One bright spot for the Red Sox has been the defensive play of Jackie Bradley Jr., which manager John Farrell atones to his confidence.
The extra work that he's been doing is starting to pay off. He's starting to reproduce a more consistent swing path, using the whole field, particularly the left side of the field, as we've seen in the past. But he's in a pretty good place confidence-wise.
The Red Sox are back at it tonight as they welcome the Chicago White Sox in for a 4-game set to complete the 10-game homestand. The Sox are currently 1-5 on the homestand. First pitch at 7:10 with pregame at 6:25 right here on ESPN New Hampshire. Winners of 4 in a row and 10 of their last 11. The New Hampshire Fisher Cats look to stay white hot as they welcome the New Britain Rockcats in for a doubleheader tonight at home. First pitch of the double dip at 6:05. Make sure you tune in all week long. The chances to win tickets to the NASCAR Sprint Series race at Loudon. We'll be giving away tickets all week long for your chances to go see the big race. I'm Rich Flair, and the Sports Center Update was brought to you by Apple Therapy. For better care for less, you can find them online at appletherapy.com.
Christian and King on ESPN New Hampshire, 603-883-9900.
So 3-883-9900, your phone number, 883-9900. It's Christian and King here. Christian with you. King is on vacation. Texter says, Mount Rushmore of crybabies. Dan Gilbert, John Lackey, Tom King when he misses Justin, and Christian Arcand when he's facing off with a 3D owl puzzle. Pretty good. That's a pretty good Mount Rushmore for the weekend anyway. Not bad, Texter. 603-883-9900, your number, 883-9900. Text line 50352. Mike Loico joining me here in just a few moments from anypatriotsdraft.com, which actually today has a pretty good article up on Devin McCourty. It wasn't by Loico, it was by one of the editors over there, Oliver Thomas. And it's a pretty good entry. I was reading it earlier today. And they have a whole bunch of great stuff up there as well. Basically, what I would be most interested in finding out here as we get closer and closer to minicamp is basically, what do we got here? Obviously, this team has improved a lot on defense. Has the offense gotten any better? Has it gotten worse? These are all questions we have for Mike Loico, who joins us now on the ESPN New Hampshire guest line. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hey, glad to be back with you.
Good to have you too, Mike. It's just me today, no Tom King. So, if you need to cry for a minute or whatever, you can let the tears out there. That's okay. We understand. Everybody loves Tom. But I have a couple of questions for you here, mostly about this, too. We haven't heard a whole lot since the OTAs stopped. And it's been a pretty quiet couple of weeks, and these are usually the weeks where people get in trouble. We all remember Aaron Hernandez and everything like that last year. But right now, is assuming everybody comes back, there's no big arrests, no double murders or anything like that. How are you feeling about this team as this roster is currently constructed? Most of the moves and everything have been made. Everything's all done league-wide, not just with the Patriots. How are you feeling about this roster as you look up and down it?
I mean, considering where they were at the end of last season, and that was, one step away from the Super Bowl, I think they're clearly the second-best team in the AFC last year. And when you consider not only the moves that they've made in the offseason, bringing in the best cornerback in football, Brandon Browner, who should have as big of an impact as Revis, and then getting the guys back from injury that they were missing for the vast majority of last year, I think you have to be very optimistic heading into this season. If everybody's healthy, I think it's going to be a vastly improved defense, maybe the best defense we've seen since the Super Bowl years, maybe up there with the 2003-2004 defenses. And the offense has definitely not gotten any worse. I think if Gronkowski is healthy, he just does so much for that offense that if he's healthy and ready to go and plays like he has in the past, then we're talking about one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the NFL without question.
But don't you need to have a plan B with Rob Gronkowski at this point, Mike? Haven't we seen enough of him in his history and knowing what they can be with him, but also what that offense can be without him, which is not super impressive, to know that we need to have some sort of backup plan with him coming into this season?
Yeah, and I think that's what we saw them do this offseason. They've moved away from the 2 tight end offense. If they wanted to stick with the Gronkowski-Hernandez tight end-centric offense, they would have made a concerted effort to go out there and draft one of the tight ends in the first or trade up in the second round to grab one of the top 4 tight ends.
Right.
Or they would have been more aggressive on the free agent market to grab one of the top free agent tight ends back in March. What we instead saw them do was re-sign Edelman, sign a guy like Brandon LaFell, who he's not a number 1 receiver, but he's certainly as good as any number 2 or 3 receiver they have on the roster, and then put your money in the development of those second-year guys, Dobson, Tompkins, and Boyce, and hope that, if one of those guys turns out to be a number 2 or 3 receiver, then you take that every day of the week. If you can get contributions out of 1 or 2 of those guys, then your wide receiver position is essentially 5 or 6 deep with all interchangeable parts. Even if Gronkowski is not healthy, I think they're going to be more wide receiver-centric this season. And I also think losing Blunt, adding James White, you're going to see the running backs more integrated into the passing game, and I think that was a sorely missed aspect of the offense last season, was once Vereen went down, they didn't have any running backs that could catch the ball. So if Vereen's healthy and James White can catch the ball a little bit, I think we see more offense out of the receiving-wise out of the tight ends, and the offense built around wide receiver production and not so reliant on just Rob Gronkowski and the tight end.
Now, wasn't the problem, Mike, in I don't want to say the problem, obviously they came game away from the Super Bowl, but wasn't the problem in that AFC Championship game the fact that they didn't have enough weapons, that some of these wide receivers, Edelman can only do so much, and they've gotten all they're going to get out of him. Amendola, you don't really know what you got. And you mentioned the three rookies last year. Of those 3 rookies, do you see all 3 of them making the team this year? I know Tompkins is probably on the bubble. Boyce, I don't know. Dobson is still recovering from his foot injury. I mean, I'm not feeling super optimistic about those guys.
Yeah, I think they all make the team. Boyce and Dobson are for sure on the team. They're not going to cut a 4th-round pick the year after, especially with the reports out of minicamp and OTA that Boyce is looking really good. Dobson, first 2nd-round pick from last year, he's definitely on the team.
Right.
Tompkins, by all reports, has had a very good offseason, so unless he totally tanks it, he'll be on the team. And I think they end up keeping 6, if you count Matthew Slater, 7 wide receivers. And you can do that when you only keep two tight ends and a fullback tight end hybrid like James Devlin. So if you look at the tight ends and wide receiver pieces as one total position, you keep about 10. Usually you keep about 10 players on the roster between tight end and wide receiver, and I think that it's just going to be wide receiver heavy this year. But it all came down to health last year. Gronkowski, even if you get 75% of what he is, he just forces the defense to pay so much attention to him. Plus, all these guys that were in the offense last year, it's his first year in the system. Amendola, who was never 100%, his first year in the system. It was really Edelman's first year being the number one guy, even though he had such a great year. And now that he's the legitimate number one target for a wide receiver, you expect him to even take maybe another little step up and be that, no doubt about it, number one receiver type player. And then the second year guys, you have to assume one of those guys, one of the three, is going to make a significant impact, whether it's Boyce, Dobson, or, I was never super high on Tompkins, but everything I've heard is he's had a great offseason. And then I think the signing of Brandon LaFell has been a little underreported just because it came in with the Browner and the Revis. He's kind of flown under the radar. But he's a very good, 3 or 4 receiver, and he adds more size to a position that was lacking size last year.
Yeah, I'm not a big Brandon LaFell fan. I think he's kind of a Stonehands, but he's, like you said, he's a very good 3 or 4. I just feel like they have a lot of very good 3 or 4s and no real 1s and 2s. That's my thing there. Mike Loico joining us here on Christian and King. Mike, let's talk about the offensive line a little bit here. There's going to be some new names on this O-line here. Storr, Calapio, Cam Fleming, some of those guys. Is that going to mean the days of Wendell and Connolly and sort of those guys, that over with? I mean, are we sort of looking at a changing of the guard here on this line?
Whether it happens, right at the start of training camp or week 1 or week 16, the writing's definitely on the wall. At the very minimum, it's going to be one of the competitions to watch in training camp. You don't draft a center with your 3rd pick, your 4th round pick overall. But if you don't have any plans for the future, Stork is a much better prospect than Ryan Wendell ever was. He has more size. He's more versatile. He's a very smart player. It wasn't a sexy pick, but out of all the draft picks they had, you could see Stork becoming, a long-term fit on this team. And then John Halapio was getting major reps in OTAs with the starters at right guard. He's just a strong, physical, just road grading type who should help the running game. And if we really want to break down the problems on offense last year, besides the injuries, it was really the interior offensive line, especially in the AFC Championship game where they were just getting destroyed in the middle up front. And I think that spending 3 straight draft picks on the offensive line, basically on guys that are bigger, more physical, stronger, I think they made a concerted effort to upgrade from Ryan Wendell and Dan Connolly. Wendell's contract is easily cuttable if he doesn't hold his own in camp. And I'm still very surprised that Dan Connolly survived this long with his big cap hit.
Me too, yeah. I can't believe that. I'm surprised that they kept him there as long as they have. I thought they would have made a move by now. We're joined by Mike Loico here. Mike, one thing that's getting a little bit more traction now since his lawyers have gone out and said that the Patriots may or may not still owe him millions of dollars is the Aaron Hernandez trial. Is that something that's going to hang over the head of this team coming into it, especially if anybody has to get involved in the trial somehow from the organization? Do you foresee that being a problem this year?
No, I don't see it being a problem whatsoever. They don't even mention his name down in Foxborough. 60% of the players on this team now are players that never even probably played it down with Aaron Hernandez. He's nothing more than a figurehead or, just a media figure right now to most of these guys. None of the players will have to get involved in any of this stuff. The player that Hernandez was closest with on the team was Brandon Spice. He's no longer here. Maybe some of the higher-ups, Bob Kraft, maybe some of the personnel guys have to go and give a statement or a deposition, but that's not going to have any effect on this team. Which may end up having an effect is if sooner or later it's going to be drug out and it may take another year or two, but they're going to end up getting some money back on Hernandez's contract just because of the fact that the 2 Boston murders had happened before he signed his contract extension, basically nullifying any money that he was already given. How much they're going to get back on cap returns remains to be seen, but they're going to get something back. Who knows when, though? Yeah,
it certainly seems like, to me anyway, a lot of the fingers that sort of got pointed at the Patriots organization saying, how could you let this happen? How could you let this guy who was here with your team every day, how do you not know what he was doing and all of those things? That wave sort of is over. I don't know if that's going to come back again and sort of cast a bad light on the team, but any coverage that this trial gets, I think, is going to be all in all a net negative, would you say, right?
Yeah, I mean, the trial itself is going to be a media circus, and it's probably going to be in the news for months and months on end. But at this point, by the time the trial gets underway, it's going to be almost 2 years removed from him playing it down with the Patriots. if Aaron Hernandez was a free agent last summer before all this came out, you'd have all 32 teams trying to sign him and sign him for big money. So saying that the Patriots are the only team that would have signed him for that extension last summer or 2 summers ago is just crazy because signing him to that early extension was getting him out so he wouldn't go to free agency a year early, where no doubt about it he'd be one of the hottest free agents on the market. So it's something that nobody in the media had any inkling about. None of the players had any inkling about, because if they did, obviously they wouldn't have signed him to an extension, and nobody in their right mind would have signed him to an extension if they knew what he was really up to.
Yeah, and imagine also now, you know how Jimmy Graham's fighting to try and get his designation changed as a wide receiver?
Yeah.
Imagine if Hernandez was trying to get that same thing. It might have gone down a little differently,
He would have had a very good case to do that, for sure.
He would have, for sure, and I wouldn't want to be the guy to tell him you can't make any extra money. That would be the last thing I'd want to tell Aaron Hernandez. Mike Loico, thanks so much for your time, bud. Great stuff as always, and I'm sure we'll talk to you a lot more in the coming weeks.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, Mike Loico there, NEPatriotsDraft.com. You can follow him on Twitter, and his Twitter handle is, I always get this wrong, so I'm going to make sure I get it right today, NEPD_Loico. That's LOYKO. NEPD_Loico for some great football insights. Guy's just a draftnik and really knows his stuff. All right, 603-883-9900. That's your phone number, 883-9900. Christian and King will be right back.
Quiznos Subs in Nashua is now home to the new Southern Barbecue pulled pork subs. Slow roasted pulled pork, mozzarella and cheddar cheese, pickles, mustard, and Quiznos signature barbecue sauce served on your choice of artisan breads. Try the spicy pulled pork sub as well. Quiznos will also cater your graduation party or office meeting, or you can head down and park in their own parking lot, which is key at lunchtime.
Quiznos Subs, located at 290 Main Street in Nashua. Quiznos. Toasty.
Hey, Lynn, how are you?
Great. It's been a while. You look good.
Thanks. Hey, can you tell? I knocked off a few pounds recently.
Yeah, I mean, you really look good.
Well, I can't take all the credit. I owe it to Dr. Waldman and his cool sculpting.
Who?
Dr. Waldman. He's right on Riverside Street in Nashua. I'm telling you, I never had a hard time with my appearance. I work out, I eat healthy, but I just couldn't get rid of these love handles until I had cool sculpting at Dr. Waldman's.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of Dr. Waldman and the new cool sculpting. The entire staff there is great. They'll sit down with you and consult on exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, they made my cool sculpting experience comfortable and safe. No incisions, no downtime. Plus, I was back at the gym the same night.
And I must say, I like what I see.
Well, then I'll see you for dinner.
Absolutely.
Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology on Riverside Street in Nashua. Make sure to mention this ESPN New Hampshire ad to get a free cool sculpting consultation with Dr. Waldman. Call 603-577-5559 or visit them online at Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology.com. That's Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology.com.
The New Hampshire Tomahawks promote the highest level of scholastic club lacrosse competition, not just in the state, but in the country. Over the last 8 years, 59 of the 64 New Hampshire All-Americans were Tomahawks players. Looking to get recruited? Director Chris Cameron keeps an open dialogue with the nation's top college lacrosse coaches. The Tomahawks offer indoor leagues along with spring, summer, and fall elite teams, so play with the best. The New Hampshire Tomahawks, showcase and development for college lacrosse.
Visit nhtomahawks.com.
If you're a homeowner who's faithfully made your mortgage payments, you deserve thanks for doing the right thing. And I'd like to tell you about a powerful financial tool that rewards your commitment. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and the tool that I'm talking about is the Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. HARP is designed to help you lower your mortgage payments. It's for homeowners who are current on their mortgage payments, but due to the housing market may have little or no equity left in their home. And even if you were unable to get a HARP loan in the past, new guidelines mean that now you may be eligible. More than 2.5 million homeowners have already taken advantage of HARP and are saving an average of $250 a month. If you're one of the millions yet to take advantage, call us today at 800-QUICKEN. To learn more, call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That number again is 800-QUICKEN.
Important terms and conditions apply. Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
CSA Graphics offers the best screen printing, embroidery, and promotional items in the area. Everything is done in-house, which allows CSA to make just one or thousands of items. Whether it's t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, or uniforms, CSA will increase your brand awareness and get the word out about your company. CSA Graphics considers customer service their top priority. Gary and his staff work directly with you to create your printed version in the most efficient and affordable manner possible.
Call CSA Graphics at 978-577-6427 or visit CSAGFX.com.
You're listening to Southern New Hampshire's home for the Boston Red Sox, ESPN New Hampshire. Scores, standings, trades, and rumors. This is the ESPN New Hampshire Sports Center.
Next Saturday is the NASCAR Sprint Series race up at Loudon. Make sure you tune in all week long on ESPN New Hampshire for your chances to win tickets to the big race. Last year's winner Brian Vickers talked about what he needs to do to repeat.
You obviously always feel good coming back to the track. You've won it to an extent, but everything changes so much. I mean, because of all the new rule changes this year to the new car and the no ride heights, I mean, none of the setup's the same. So it's not like we can just throw in last year's setup and go fast. I mean, we have to adapt and change and find a new package to win, just like everyone else.
The Boston Red Sox continue to falter as they lost last night to the Baltimore Orioles 7-6 in 12 innings. The Sox are right back at it tonight as they welcome the Chicago White Sox in for a 4-game set. First pitch 7:10 with pregame at 6:25 right here on ESPN New Hampshire. Over the weekend, the Boston Celtics played their first Summer League game. The Seas beat the Heat 85-77, and the number 6 overall pick, Marcus Smart, looked impressive, especially defensively, with 5 steals. Winners of 4 in a row and 10 of the last 11, the New Hampshire Fisher Cats look to stay red hot as they welcome in the New Britain Rock Cats for a doubleheader. First pitch at 6:05. I'm Rich Flair, and the Sports Center was brought to you by CSA Graphics. For all your ESPN New Hampshire apparel, just visit ESPNNHradio.com.
Local sports talk for the New Hampshire sports fan. This is ESPN New Hampshire, Christian and King.
Hey, 603-883-9900, your phone number, 883-9900. Text in 50352. Christian and King here. No King, just Christian. Want to say thanks to Mike Loico there. Big shout out to him for coming on with me there. Great stuff from him as always as we get ready for minicamp to begin. Just a couple of weeks away. Actually, less than a couple of weeks. I think just 1 week away. And hopefully, no more arrests. No players being photographed about to do drugs in the bathroom like Johnny Manziel. None of those things. Just hoping that it's nice and quiet and that the Patriots can get their act together here. Get their defense ready. Get their offense ready. A lot of new faces, a lot of revolving parts. I think the biggest thing for the Patriots so far is going to be the new O-line. New guys in the O-line. Every time there's a significant change made to the offensive line, and it varies. Sometimes it's just, Nate Solder coming in and becoming the new left tackle when Matt Light retires, or, new center coming in, or whatever it may happen to be. Marcus Cannon coming in because Vollmer's getting hurt. Whenever there's any sort of change to the offensive line, I always get a little hesitant. I always get a little worried. Because I think last year the offensive line was good, not great. And almost every single other year of Tom Brady's career, the offensive line's been great. Almost every single other year. And we're looking at 13 seasons. It's rare that you get 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons of great offensive line play like that. And Tom Brady's gotten 13 seasons of it. Or if you want to be, specific, 12 and a half, I'd say. I give last season a half grade. But it was good, not great. And so there you go. I mean, that's really what we're talking about is this offensive line and some of these new faces, are they going to be able to keep Tom Brady upright? And if they do keep Tom Brady upright, is Tom Brady's receiving targets going to be able to catch the ball? I don't think Brandon LaFell's any good. I disagreed with Loico there. I could have gotten more into it, but it was sort of a small point he was making about LaFell and some of these other receivers. And that's sort of my issue, is that you have Julian Edelman, who is at best a slot receiver. He is a slot receiver, a number 2, 3 option. He's not an outside guy. He's not a big target. He's a guy who's shifty and gets open and can run after he makes the catch. And they've squeezed about as many yards and as many catches out of him as I think anyone ever humanly thought possible. And in fact, probably nobody thought this was possible because he came out of college as a freaking quarterback. But outside of Edelman, there's Danny Amendola. if he can stay healthy, which is, again, like Rob Gronkowski, the big mystery. Even if he is healthy, I think that he'll give you a little bit. He's a number 2. But after that, I mean, everybody's LaFell, Dobson, Boyce, Tompkins, Matthew Slater, he also mentioned, who I totally forgot about. But, yeah, he's there too. I mean, we're talking 4s and 5s and, maybe you got a 3 in there somewhere on a good day. But I'm not entirely sure that this offense has made any major corrections from last season. And while the defense was certainly priority number 1, and they did seem to pour a lot of their offseason resources into making sure that defense is going to come into next season and not get thrown on, left and right. And great. I mean, that's absolutely something they needed to do when they lost to Aqib Talib. I don't know. I just feel like Brady's weapons still aren't there, and they weren't there in the AFC Championship game, and they're still not going to be there now. I mean, they'll beat the Buffaloes and the Jets and the, lowly teams of the world. They'll even beat the Colts probably with teams like that. But when you get to the elite teams, and there aren't really that many in the AFC at this point, there's really just Denver and you. But when you get to them, you get to some of those NFC teams, the Niners didn't get worse. Seahawks didn't get worse. Panthers may have gotten a little bit worse, but their defense is still mighty good. I don't know. I mean, I'm not completely convinced that this team improved on offense at all. That rookie catching passes out of the backfield, sure, but we know how Belichick can be with these rookie running backs, especially guys who aren't, straight-ahead runners first and foremost. He's given Ridley a lot of chances, but that's because he hasn't had a lot of other options. LeGarrette Blount's gone. Shane Vereen's a pass-catching running back, but not your typical one. He's not like a check-down pass catcher. He's like a fly up the sidelines and hit him with a 40-yard bomb type of pass catcher, which is great. And I think that they can certainly use him on wheel routes and things like that. But, I mean, overall, they haven't had their what the hell's the guy's name now? Danny Woodhead, Kevin Falk type player in a couple years. So just something to think about there. 603-883-9900, your phone number, 883-9900. As excited as you are to see this Patriots defense come out and play against opposing offenses, are you any more excited about the offense than you were before? Does this Patriots offense do anything for you? I don't know. Didn't do much for me last year, and I can't really hold on to anything tangible about the offense this season, on paper anyway, that'll lead me to think it's going to improve dramatically. Yes, now I think Aaron Dobson could be better, but hell, the guy just finished recovering from a 6-month-long foot surgery. It wasn't a 6-month-long surgery, but the recovery time was 6 months after foot surgery. And Kembrell Tompkins, I think, is okay. And Josh Boyce, I have no idea what we have in Josh Boyce. He only played a couple of games. I think he had one good kick return and a couple of catches. I mean, he didn't do much. And Brandon LaFell, I don't know if Brandon LaFell is going to make it through camp. Patriots do that a lot. They'll sign a guy like a Brandon LaFell or a Donald Jones or an Anthony Gonzalez or somebody like that. And they don't make it through camp. They're just there as be a position battle for somebody else. I basically see Brandon LaFell as being Aaron Dobson position battle fodder in mini camps coming up. I think that's basically why he's here. And honestly, I don't think he's going to give you anything more than that if you made the team to begin with. I'm thinking 20 catches, 370 yards, 2 touchdowns at most, if that. I don't know. Maybe I'm way off here. Maybe I'm not seeing the big picture, but I don't know. It's a passing league. We all know that. You got to get out there. You got to have people for Brady to throw to. And if Rob Gronkowski is healthy all season long, that changes the entire landscape of this whole conversation. If Rob Gronkowski is healthy and performing and out there, catching touchdowns and getting you first downs on third down, then the rest of those guys can do their thing. Julian Edelman can do his thing. Aaron Dobson can do his thing. But if Gronk's not there, and Edelman's your number 1 target, and Aaron Dobson all of a sudden is your number 2, and Boyce is your number 3 or LaFell, I don't like that offense very much. I'm sorry. It does not do much for me. Belichick and Brady have won with less, but not much less. This is teetering sort of on the Doug Gabriel, Rashae Caldwell territory of 2006 with these guys. And I like Julian Edelman. But how many more 1,000-yard seasons do you think we're going to get from him? It's kind of unfair, I think, to even put that sort of responsibility on him to be that much of the offense. But I guess out of all of the things to worry about, you got Tom Brady throwing the ball. Someone's going to catch it. That's been the case no matter what, no matter who's been there. Brady's throwing the ball, someone's going to catch it. Sometimes it's Randy Moss, sometimes it's Rashae Caldwell, sometimes it's Josh Boyce, It's just the way things go. Belichick did his work. He got the job done in the other parts of the team that needed it. Offensive line restructured. New faces, but young faces, good faces. And the defense, oh boy, I cannot wait to see that defense. 603-883-9900, your phone number, 883-9900. Text in 50352. When we come back at the top of the hour, when I come back at the top of the hour, I will be joined by David Laurel from Fangraphs. And Mr. Laurel will try and get to the bottom of why we should probably give up on this Red Sox team and what some of these trade pieces might be worth. Don't go anywhere. Dave Laurel of Fangraphs coming up next on Christian and King.